So when you're spinning, there will be a point at which your short amount of fibre supply that you've pulled off of your rope of prepared fibre will run out. What do? Here you can see I've attached my yarn that I've spun to the hook on the drop spindle, and I have left a length of my yarn, but don't spin right to the end. Leave a fluffy bit of fibre at the end so that you can take your new supply of fibre and overlap them. You make sure that you've got plenty of accumulated twist in that piece, and when you lay them together, it will automatically start to twist and try and grab the new supply. So then just pinch where it's still firm and secure on the twist and just roll a little bit. There we are, and it's joined as if it was just one yarn. You can now continue drafting as before. Roll, and when you become more proficient, it won't be long before you're doing this. You're drafting whilst your spindle is still suspended in mid-air and you're working towards the floor. Don't go more than your arms can stretch, it'll be painful after a bit. And here we have the yarn building up on the shaft of the spindle. You'll notice that I'm now working with a bigger supply of yarn. If I was to leave this dangling around, the waft of the air would whip the light wool fibres into the new yarn and make a mess. So what I've done is made myself a woolly bracelet. It's not tight, so it can slip off of my wrist as I need more fibre. And I could now get up and walk around and spin as I go. When you filled your drop spindle as full as it feels comfortable to spin for the weight, you're ready to wind off your yarn into 2 little balls to be able to ply the yarn. To do this, you can do it at any stage. If you're impatient like me, they'll be very tiny balls. So take the end, and with a little piece of card, this helps you to make a nice solid ball with a little slit in it. Just pop the end of the yarn inside and then start to roll. It might be easier to put the spindle on the floor between your feet so that it comes off nicely, and you're there. You can see how much twist is in this yarn. Just make sure as it goes onto the ball it's nice and firm and no little piggy tails of twist, and you just go a little bit in each direction until it starts to build up, and you do 2 of these balls. When you have your 2 balls of yarn, in this case they're only sample size, so very tiny, so they need a small vessel to go into. If you have larger balls of wool, drop them into separate boxes to stop them rolling around the furniture. In this case, I'm going to pop them both into a mug and take the ends and tuck each of them under the handle of the mug that they are sat in. I can now bring those 2 together and place the mugs on the floor. The handles help to act as a tension device. I've now got my empty drop spindle. I'll just park it between my knees and take the 2 ends of the yarn and tuck them into the loop of the leader piece of commercial yarn that we put on earlier. I'm going to tuck the ends between the 2 pieces of existing yarn and just hold that join, and this time I'm going to roll the drop spindle up my leg. Use the same hand as you did before, and then just roll it, and the spinning and twirling it in mid-space is locking that join together. Right, you're now ready to really go for applying. So roll it up the leg and then allow the twist to go into the yarn. This part of the process goes very quickly and you quickly have a length of yarn. Let's just have a look at what we've got. It's wanting to twist. It will want to be fairly lively. When you're happy with what you've got and it's looking good, just roll it onto the shaft of the spindle. As the same as before, keep a little length of yarn, come from the back of the hook, make your loop, make sure that the yarn that you've now made is coming from underneath the other piece. That keeps it on the hook. Roll up and make sure that you take out all the little twirly, twiggly bits that are twisting. If you run out of twist, you haven't rolled hard enough, just stop, hold, twist still, roll again, and off you go again. It will ply itself very quickly. And you do this until you've used up all your yarn from both of the pots. When you've plied all of your yarn, tie a little knot in the end to stop the twist escaping out of the end, and get some yarn, some spare yarn and a pair of scissors to hand, and we're going to skein off our yarn onto this part of the body. Capture the tail of the yarn, put it underneath your elbow, pick up your spindle, and then just roll off your yarn around your elbow and your hand there. And do this until you've used all of your yarn. When you've rolled all your yarn onto your forearm and the leader yarn has come into sight, just cut the yarn away and put a little knot in the end. Don't just let go of everything. We want to tie the two ends together, and we're wanting to put some little ties through this skein as well. So we need to remove the skein, gripping both ends. And I'm going to tension them over my knees. One knee and there. Tie the two ends together. Knot there, so they don't come apart. This will need washing in a bit. Take your yarn and cut a few short pieces to go through the skein. Take it, separate, and put like a figure of 8 tie around it. Don't tie it tight, but just knot it together there. That'll keep it from going into a knot when you wash it. Do on the other side. This is not a huge skein, so these two will do. Knot it again. Keep the ties loose. It'll just keep the wool in order. And there you are, you have your very first skein of yarn.